If you're trying to develop more power on your one-handed backhand, then this video should help you a lot because I'm going to go through the two main elements that are important for creating power. So we're going to be talking about the biomechanics, which is how you sequence your kinetic chain, and we're going to take a look at a few of the top pros. Then we're going to talk about the timing, because when you start your swing and where you make contact relative to your swing path and the flight of the ball are also going to be really important. And then I'm going to end by talking about what you need to do to improve from where you are right now. So hopefully you'll find the video helpful. If you do, it'd be great if you'd give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel before, it always helps me out if you could do that as well. I'm going to start looking at the biomechanics. Now the video I'm using is from Slow Motion Tennis. It's a fantastic resource, so I'll place a link to it down in the description. But in terms of the biomechanics, there's going to be a few different things that are going to be important. The first one is the way that you prepare, because unless you prepare properly, it's really hard to generate power efficiently. Now we'll look at Tsitsipas, but then we'll look at some other pros as well. When it comes to the preparation, the first thing that you'll see is they all get a good early unit turn. They're generally going to turn past 90 degrees. So if this is forwards, they're going to turn their upper body even further back than that, past 90 degrees. So they've got a big upper body coil. The next thing that you're going to see is that their rackets are all relatively high. Now where the strings are facing doesn't matter. Tsitsipas tends to have his racket pointing more to the side. You'll see some players that have their strings pointing more backwards, but that doesn't matter quite as much. What does matter, the other thing that really matters, is that they load their back leg. So for a right-handed player, that's going to be your left leg, because that's what initiates the swing. The ball is coming into focus there. He's about to start his swing, so he is going to push this back leg into the ground. As he pushes the back leg into the ground, his racket is going to drop into the slot position. So he's pushing into the ground, his racket drops into the slot position, and now what you're going to see is he's going to drive his hip forwards. And that is then going to start his upper body rotation, which is then going to lead to the arm being pulled through, which finishes off creating the racket head speed. Now this is a little bit different to the forehand. When you hit a forehand, we see this pelvis, this hip come all the way around. On the one-handed backhand, it doesn't come all the way around. It just comes around a little bit, but it comes around really quickly. So we'll watch that again. Preparation, we've got the upper body unit turn. We've got the racket high. We've got the loading of the back leg. He's about to push through that back leg. As he does that, the racket drops down into the slot position. He's then going to fire this hip around, but just a little bit. That then starts the upper body rotation, and then his arm kicks in and does the rest of the work, and he effectively throws his racket through to contact, and by the time he makes contact, the racket is traveling at kind of its fastest point. So he's done all his work before he makes contact. Now let's take a look at Dimitrov, and we'll look at him from a slightly different view, but he's going to land from his split step. He's going to do a quick upper body unit turn. So he's got his unit turn. Dimitrov is very flexible, so he generally gets quite a long way past 90 degrees. We can see the position that he's got his racket in. We can see that he's got his back leg loaded. He's then going to start to push through his back leg. So you can see his heel has just lifted off the ground a little bit there, so we can see that he started to push through that toe. As he's doing that, he's now going to start his racket drop, so it's dropping down into the slot position. So here is another position you'll see from a lot of the pros. The strings are pointing backwards in this position. Depending on your timing, you might not do that in exactly the same way, but this is what the pros do. And then you're going to see this hip firing around to restart the forwards acceleration from the torso, and then the arm taking over, and then we're making contact there. So very similar biomechanics. We'll take a look at another one. We've got that upper body unit turn. The racket is high. The back leg is loaded. He's driving through that back leg. As he does that, the racket's going to start to drop into the slot position, and the power is all about getting this sequential motion. You drive through the back leg, then the hip comes through, then the torso comes through, and then the racket comes through after. But it's hip, torso, shoulder, and then the racket comes through. So creating power is all about trying to sequence that correctly, and that's going to be the first thing that's really important. Before we get to the timing, I just want to quickly let you know about a free live workshop that I've got coming up soon, where I'm going to be teaching you how you can use a brain-based training to improve your hand-to-eye coordination, because once you become more skillful, it enables you to use higher level technique and play higher level tennis. So I'll place a link to that workshop down in the description so that you can check that out if you're interested. Now we're going to take a look at the timing, and we're going to go back to Tsitsipas, and we're going to look at a couple of different backhands, because the timing is crucial along with the biomechanics. A lot of kind of recreational intermediate players' biomechanics look okay. They're able to sequence the kinetic chain, but it's the timing that's the hard part for most people. So in terms of timing, we've got a couple of variables. We have got when we start our swing, and then how quickly we swing. So what I want you to see is on this particular shot here, if you look at where the ball is bouncing, it's just bouncing there, so maybe I can move that over so it's in shot a little bit better. Okay, so the ball is just bouncing here. And if you look where Tsitsipas is, he is now about to start his forward swing now. So he's just starting to push through his back hip. So he's push through his back leg here. He's going to start his racket drop, and then this bit is going to be really quick. So you can see how far the ball is away. He's just about to start his racket drop into the slot position and throw his hip around, and there isn't much time in between there and the contact. But when he makes contact, he's basically done all the hard work and he's thrown his racket into the ball. But I want you to kind of look at that again and look when the ball bounces. So the ball is about to bounce. There's a brief period of time there. He steps forwards into the ball, and then he's going to start with a racket drop. And then we'll skip forwards a little bit. So he hits a slice backhand here. But on this next one, this is a much deeper ball. So obviously still prepares, as sets up nice and quickly. But then if you look at the ball is bouncing now. The ball's just about to bounce. And then he immediately starts his swing. And realistically, he started pushing through his back leg just before or around the time that the ball bounces. But then the time lapse between the ball bouncing and making contact, there's a very short space of time. And this is the hard part in tennis. So yes, we have to get the biomechanics, but you also have to start your swing at the right time. Out and or adjust the speed of your swing, because they're the two variables. So can you read the flight of the ball, and can you judge when to start your swing, and then can you make the adjustments on the swing speed? So that's what the pros do. The question is, what do you need to do to go from where you are now to being able to consistently hit a more powerful one-handed backhand? And that starts with analyzing what you're currently doing. You want to record yourself and get good, honest feedback and data about what you're doing, so then you can work on kind of correcting any underlying problems that you've got and work on moving yourself forwards. And depending on what level you're at, that might mean different things. For a lot of adult players, the problem is the preparation. Now, we didn't talk about it so much with the pros because they're all prepared and ready and set up in time. But most lower level adult players, they don't get set up in time. Because of that, they can't drive through their back leg, they can't get the weight transfer, and they can't use the kinetic chain. So you want to record yourself and find out whether you're preparing soon enough. If you're not, then you're going to have to work on the movement of the preparation. You might need to practice your footwork, getting a good unit turn. Potentially, you also need to train your vision so that you can read the flight of the ball more quickly to help you prepare sooner. If you're slightly more advanced, then timing is probably going to be the issue. A lot of players are able to get the biomechanics so they can kind of create the racket head speed, but it's the timing that's off. Most players start their swing a little bit late because they can't accurately read the flight of the ball, and they don't have the coordination in order to be able to make the adjustments and kind of adjust the speed of the swing relative to the flight of the ball. So you might have to work on that on court, practicing, really focusing on the timing, trying to read the flight of the ball and kind of visualizing when and where you want to make contact and trying to adjust your timing based on that. But potentially you might need to work on your visual system, might need to work on your coordination to enable you to have better timing, because it's really hard. If your hand-to-eye coordination isn't good enough, you're never going to have amazing timing. If you'd like to learn how to improve your vision and coordination so you can develop higher level timing, I'm holding a free live workshop pretty soon where I'm going to be teaching you how you can use brain-based training to improve your skill. So I'll place a link to that down in the description. Click on that link, it'll take you over to a different page where you can learn more and potentially register. Okay, hopefully this video has been helpful to you. Go away, record yourself, find out what you're doing wrong at the moment, create a plan and start fixing those underlying problems. If you've got any questions about what I've covered here, leave a comment down below. Otherwise, thanks for watching and I'll catch you next time.